look across the board to see what is right for you. And the main thing is that I want to make sure that we're all doing is developing a strategy and a plan for yourself. So when you hear these different pitches, you can see if this pitch aligns with your personal plan. Because what's right for me may not be right for you, may not be right for you. Our motivations for why we're doing what we're doing is different. The world of real estate investing or investing in general is huge. You're going to hear a lot of things all the time, and what I want to do is make sure that you are empowered to know and recognize when you hear something that's right for you. And so we have two people here today that's going to pitch a land development opportunity. And then before they get started, let me see. Okay. So I want to make sure that you all, the thing I want you all to keep in mind is that real estate investing is a long-term strategy if you want to do it right. And you don't have to have it all figured out right now. I stress to people that my real estate journey really started almost 30 years ago. And it started with building the capital to be able to invest in real estate. That started 30 years ago. But I had a plan that I knew I wanted to be an investor. I knew I ain't had no money back then, but I had a plan on how I was going to acquire the money back then. And so when I stepped out to finally do real estate investing, my first commercial deal was a $1.2 billion deal that we had the capital. We didn't have to get it financed. We had $1.2 million accrued over almost 30 years by different venues that we did to grow our money so that we would be positioned. So I just want people to know that, like, even if you're not positioned now, if you have a plan, if you have a vision and a plan, there's the range of things you can do to get you positioned. So if you're not positioned now, let's talk about it. I work with people all the time to help you develop your own goals and your own plan. And so if you're like, hey, if I don't understand what my goals are, if I don't have a solid plan in place, let's talk about that so that you can have a wealth building strategy that's going to take you into the future. So this is my calendar. Please, if you want to just take some time to just book and just sit down and talk, there's the QR code. If you have my number, just reach out. But this is real. If we were sitting around here talking, but if we don't realize that these people ain't playing with us, they don't respect nothing but money. If we can continue and we keep sitting and wonder why they are responsive to just about every other demographic but us, and if we're going to still be consumers and not investors and growing our wealth, we will never be respected in this country. Here is our event calendar. So today we have our, and I meant to cross out the February one. So we are in our networking event and our deal pitch. So how the program works is that we have the three, we have quarterly in-person sessions that will we get to meet as a family and pitch a deal. And then we have educational sessions that are all virtual. So that you can see some of the topics that are coming up, and I'll have these posted on the Community Impact Investors Forum. Next week, if you are interested in doing Airbnbs, next week there is a virtual boot camp on diving into the world of Airbnbs. And for all of you all that know me, you know that Airbnbs, that's one of my passions. It is a significant part of my portfolio. And so while I love and I consider this commercial investing as well. And so if you're thinking about where do I start, to me, I love Airbnbs. And I love Airbnbs from the standpoint of it's a great legacy building platform. These are properties that me and my family, we vacation in. We build memories there. My daughter is part of the business. She does property management. And when my grandson calls me, because he comes every summer and spends 2 to 3 weeks in the summertime, And he's like, oh, grandma, are we going to the beach house? Are we going to the lake house? Are we going to the boat? I mean, like to from where I started to be in the position now, this is amazing. And real estate investing allows you to do some amazing things. And so we'll talk about the ins and outs of Airbnb and how you, if this is something, once you've thought through your strategy and plan, if this is something that you want to add to your portfolio, let's talk about it and add some tools that will get you on that journey. We also have a book club, Successful Investors Read. There's so much information out there in a book, and I'm just amazed at how many people go out and pay somebody $10,000 and $15,000 for a coaching program that ain't gonna tell you no more than what you can learn by reading a book.
Mm-hmm. I meant to do what was the last book?
The one, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's okay.
She's had a couple of drinks, so
it seemed like a good book, and I remember thinking,
I can't remember because I read so many within the real estate club and outside of the real estate club. But so this particular book for next month is a two young men who went to school actually with my sister, and they are from New York. They went to Woodlands High School in New York with my sister, and they have a whole platform called Earn Your Leisure. And so while this is not specific to real estate investors, you got to learn how to be disciplined with your money and grow your wealth. Because while I don't turn anybody down from a call, at some point we're going to get past, well, how can I make all of this money with no money? How about we be disciplined and grow some money so we can have some money to invest? All of this, I want to figure out how to do something with nothing because we can't figure out how to be a little bit more disciplined with our money. We got to get past that. So this is a good practical book that kind of talks, and I haven't finished it, but our next event is online. And for those who are in the Community Impact Investors Forum, the books are posted there. But if you have any questions, just reach out. And then here are some events. Again, we're talking about commercial real estate. Here's some events that are coming up in the commercial real estate world. I will post events, and I try to keep them in affordable events. Something that's going to cost you like $100 or even free symposiums. But you want to continue to add tools to your toolbox. And I will tell you, if you, we have to recognize that our network is valuable. So if everybody you socialize with ain't doing nothing, you got a nothing network. You need to put yourself in the rooms where you're gonna be meeting somebody that's doing the things and going to places that you're trying to go. And so that's not to say that you don't want to talk to people, but that like I'm only gonna talk to people that are doing certain things. No, but you don't want to be the only person in the room doing something too. So your network should be inspiring to you and wanting you to and inspire you to reach the next level. So like every event that I've gone to, I've been able to connect with at least one person that's been a value. It was worth the cost of attendance. I don't need a bunch of people in my network, but I need valuable people in my network. And so so get yourself out there, meet people who are doing the things that you want to do. And so here are some upcoming events. And then again, here's my contact information for those of you who don't have it. And then the QR code is to my calendar. And because the goal is not just to bombard you with information. I want you to have an actionable plan. And so if you're receiving this information and you still are trying to put together a plan, sometimes it just helps to talk through it. And so, we don't want to stay stagnant. We want to see people moving forward, achieving their goals. And if real estate investing is for you, we definitely can work together and make it happen. So, any questions before we get started?
The Airbnb, is that going to be in person?
It's virtual.
It's virtual, okay.
It's virtual. The information there'll be a link. It's in the Community Impact Investors Forum. I'll repost it again, but the link is in there.
Okay.
And it'll be next Saturday at 1300.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any questions? All right, gentlemen, we have Larry,
You wanna be here?
we have Larry Pendleton,
I'll be up to moving around.
and we have Trayvon,
Terrion.
Terrion, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
Terrion, they
Terry.
come up from the Hampton Roads area in the 757. They are born and bred 757ers. And they are doing some amazing things in the Hampton Roads area. That's a couple of hours down the highway. So, so they're gonna pitch a deal opportunity. And then for people who, you know, like, I need to see it, I need to feel it, I need to, they offer that opportunity for you all. So I'm gonna pull my slides down, let Larry pull his slides up, and then, hold on. Do I need to come around? There.
Do you want the screen to be shown? Come behind you.
No, they stuff proprietary.
That's right, yeah. All right, here, let me, while y'all setting up, hold on, Larry, let me get me a little bit of a refill here. Too much.
Yeah, we can go through introduction real quick while he's getting that. Larry's been
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we can go through the introductions real quick, Larry, and just getting refreshment. Larry will be presenting to you all. My name's Terrion Conyers, based out of Norfolk, Virginia. I'm a Class A licensed contractor, residential and commercial, developer, builder. There were several roles. Me and Larry have known each other since high school. Larry's about 4 years older than me, though, but Larry.
He's the eldest. Jerry, I'm gonna say he's your eldest.
Yeah, he's my OG, whatever. Larry went to William and Mary before me. He's a CPA, and he'll tell you a story. And I went to William and Mary as well too. Majored in business and econ. Graduated in 2010. Worked in corporate America for a bit, and I used to do real estate on the side. And real estate just kind of took a life of its own. I quit my corporate job in about 2018 and fully incorporated my business with my Class A license. So I build residential homes under the umbrella of Tier 1 construction. That's where my business license is held with DPOR. CP Realty is Conyers Pendleton Realty. My last name is Conyers, his last name is Pendleton. So when you see that moniker, that's what it stands for. But I build all the homes and things of that nature. Larry handles all the money. Kind of how we operate.
That's wonderful.
Thank you for
Yep.
coming.
No problem.
Yeah.
Always respect your elders.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Larry Pendleton. Grateful for my partner Terry to come up. But yes, I call myself the investor CPA, primarily because our tax business, PC Financials, we primarily service real estate investors, as well as being investors ourselves. I typically tell people, like, not everyone's meant to run a business, but we're all investors. Not in the sense of money, but also in the sense of your time. So wherever you invest your time into, wherever you get back in your pay, that's the return of your investment on your time. Same thing goes with money as well. So yes, we're a Mary grad, been doing this CPA stuff for over 2 decades now. That and the kids is the reason why for the gray and the beard. So
That's right.
yeah, so
That's right.
combination of that, but able to grow the tax business as well as the real estate business to a point where I'm not swamped during tax season like now, and I can kind of come out and get air and actually come present to people like you all. So grateful for the opportunity to share with you all. We got a lot of different projects that we're working on. Some for investors, some passion projects that we're doing in Hampton Roads, and possibly expand across the country as well. So, but we got about 10, 11 slides here. Not trying to hold the sermon too long, but yeah, if you have any questions along the way, please don't hesitate to interrupt me, and we'll go from there. Cool?
Cool.
Awesome. So we'll talk a little bit more about the company, our system, and how we work with private lenders, our experience, why we picked Suffolk and Portsmouth, Virginia at this point right now. And then, like I said, we'll have Q&A, we'll have some more beverages, and we'll drive safely home at them. always feel like it's important to have our mission, like kind of like why we're doing this. We do want to help like people build passive income, help our private lenders build passive income by providing them better than average return to what they're typically getting in their bank accounts or in their IRA, their 401ks, TSPs, all that. And I help with people how to move, especially if you still have a old 401k from a previous job, moving that to a self-directing 401k, so you can now grow your own retirement account and not rely on the stock market, which he's more comfortable with than I am.
I manage my wife's TSP. She's not good this year right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's TSP, but,
Just say this way,
Yeah.
yeah, military, government,
civilian.
I have a
Yeah.
403B.
So that's
Yes.
what you just, nonprofit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have both. I have both.
Yep, so work with a lot of different investors, private lenders that use both of those, especially like older ones, they still have this kind of existing, they want to put it to work. But the main thing
where
that
you
we're
work.
saying that it's backed by real estate.
It's like the infra party.
So if anything happens, you can actually say, okay, the property is actually worth this, I should be able to at least get my money back and then some if they have to foreclose on these guys because they can go right by the project. So
Exactly.
like we try to be
Yeah.
transparent as possible with what we're doing and being direct up front. The best way I've learned to do this from this time. If you couldn't tell, if you just remove the titles, like yes, he's the contractor and I'm the CPA. I just like being comfortable. If you like the front of the hoodie, that's one thing, but also gotta check out the back of the hoodie. So everyone look at me right quick and make sure you get that back in there, get that on camera. You can't have one without the other.
Contractor is supposed
right.
to be the one in the sweats,
Exactly.
and the CPA is supposed to be.
We,
Y'all kinda-
and we are leaning hard into that, as you can tell.
I love it.
y'all flipped it, y'all flipped the script.
Flip the script.
That's my housing
Say
authority.
that.
That's my headshot from NRHA.
Yes, yes. So Terry on
Did
commissioner.
you mention that?
Yeah, I'm also a commissioner for the housing. I'm the vice chair for the Norfolk Redevelopment Housing Authority. So the housing authority is $100 million a year budgeted entity that manages all the Section 8, all the low income housing in the city of Norfolk. We have the
And
largest.
that's big, folks. So
Yes.
like put yourself in the rooms, like the things like the housing authority, the economic development commissioner, all those things.
Planning.
You want to the planning
Larry's
commissioner,
on
like
planning.
he's on the planning committee. Like you get introduced to understanding both opportunities and people that's worth your time. So in your area, you should know people that are sitting in, or you should try to sit on some of those forums too, because it will, depend on what you're trying to do, it might pay dividends.
That's exactly why we've joined them, for that particular reason. A lot of people aren't gonna give you the information, so you have to be able to be in these rooms and volunteer your time.
That's good.
And initially, that time invested may be for free like we're doing, but the skills, the knowledge that you get, you'll be able to use and manifest in other areas in your life. So that's kind of our goal. We're able to help our city, in one way, and the other way we learn and use that information to be able to grow and do business in other areas as well. So
Can you repeat the names of the organizations that you said?
the Norfolk Redevelopment Housing Authority, so it's called NRHA, so commissioner for that.
And every area has a housing authority that governs there, so you can find so there's one here, the housing authority, economic development commission, the planning commission, all of those things you wanna make sure you at least are aware of them.
Yes, I'm the commissioner for the City of Norfolk Planning Commission. So we deal with a lot of the land ordinances, like what's approved, what to be built on certain land.
The zoning.
We're zoning, we're currently going through our 2050 comp plan. I think Hampton is, I think most of the 7 cities are going through their comprehensive plans, now, so, we should be done with that, probably about the next 2 years, hopefully, to get that done. But they actually reached out to me to come join and kind of help with the real estate part of the planning commission, because they don't have anyone, they got kind of nonprofit people, all stuff important, but it's like they need somebody with more real estate experience. I was able to place Mr. Fairley, who's also on the RHA as well, for him to step down and focus on that, and I can focus on taking his role in the planning commission. But in combination, like both of us, like over 2 decades of just real estate experience with new construction, we've done the flips, we've done the rentals, short-term, long-term, and mid-term rentals. We've gotten into mortgage notes now for the cash flow play. those are, as I mentioned to you, Sean, on the phone, like, there's stuff like that, like we wanna bring people on and try to educate on, how to make money on someone else's mortgage.
Yeah.
It's just how to structure that is the part that I'm still trying to get the numbers in order
Yeah.
for
And-
something like that.
And we'll have you back, to do a virtual, you can educate on the mortgage notes, and then, like, we're gonna have a session in the community impact investors that talks about REITs, and REITs that are equity backed and mortgage backed, which is a similar concept.
Yep.
Cause that's an excellent way to grow money at a lower price point, to be able to grow your money so that you can, invest in larger opportunities in the future.
I'm expecting somebody else.
My good friends and one of our investors just walked in.
Hey, come on,
Terry,
How you doing?
how many deals?
Appreciate, sorry for the miscommunication.
You must be from this area. Is your
So-
investor from this area?
Over-
From this
over-
He
area?
has a
Yeah,
slide
I'm in
that's
Bordeaux.
gonna walk through all the recent ones. He has a slide in here that's gonna talk to all the
I'm
recent
just
posts.
building, honestly. I
They
can't-
got brand new food,
The reason why I asked
they
you,
getting quick in here.
that shows, that's a
Thanks for
metric
coming. What is your name?
that shows
Sean.
that you have accomplished.
Yeah.
We'll stay connected. Are you in this area?
Decades
Okay.
Oh, you're right there.
experience, you've given
You're the only one that said it's right there. Never heard anybody.
foundation.
Well, compared to
done.
here, it's right there.
You've invested in
Well,
yourself.
we're closer here
Everything
than
that
where
you
she
said
is. She in Springfield.
is
Spring-
helping
I'm in
you
Silver
be
Spring.
better
She
for
came.
tomorrow.
Service program.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Next week, next year.
It's far from
Yeah.
Waldorf.
It's far
Far.
from, no, it's far from Waldorf, right. I expected you to say Waldorf, that's like Virginia. Well, because we're close to Waldorf, I'm like,
We're
we're
closer
right,
to
we're
Waldorf
right.
and Fort Washington.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
is in Silver Spring. Yeah.
So Terry, that's Sean.
Hey,
That's
Sean.
Sean, that's Terry.
I'm
I have worked
building
together
out.
and I have seen each other until today.
I mean, we saw each other like on Zoom.
Yeah, so, yeah. Nice
Thanks
to
for
meet you first.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, different arenas in real estate that we kind of focus in, mastered in, but today we're talking about new construction. And here is our support team, all based in Hampton Roads. Onyx, one of the biggest black owned brokerages in the Hampton Roads area. Can't really say the same about the other two entities, but we done really good work with Richard Epps' team. Christina has been really helpful for us, and Janet and her team at Members Insurance to make sure our insurance documents are all in order. So that's our support team. Terry, as they mentioned, handles the construction and the team that he put together there, and I handle the books and do all CPA, accounting, boring stuff.
It's important stuff, though.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I said, I balance the world of boring accounting and sexy investing. So I
Yeah.
kind of jump
Money
between both.
is all sex.
Yeah.
Learning how to
That's
grow.
right.
That's
That's
pretty
right.
good.
Growth is the name of the game.
So how our system works, so we have a live, like with these roles that we have a lot of great connections in Hampton Roads area. So we have, like, we'd be notified of what lots to look out for and what to purchase. Some of auction, some privately owned, some city owned, but we use the capital from our other businesses to acquire the land, so that we have actually skin in the game along with our private lenders as well. Like, no one is just hanging out, just wondering like what we're doing. Like, no, we're putting money in this as well. Yes,
So
ma'am.
when you say we borrow the money from you, like how many people are in that money?
Great
No,
question.
Oh,
No, that's a good question.
It's a great question.
He's
So-
gonna answer it. Yep.
So yeah, so we have, like I said, most of our constructions, we're somewhere in the, between $100, $110 per square foot, so we get the $185,000, $195,000 from there. So I've been a syndicator for multifamily. I actually have clients who've done larger syndications, and to have 20 plus, 100 plus people in one deal makes no sense to, makes no sense to me, so.
okay. That makes
I try
sense.
to keep it in like somewhere in the 6 to 8 range, so our minimal investment is $30K.
Okay.
We have no real maximum, but like I said, we try to keep like that number of people in place there.
Yeah, typically.
What was that dollar amount you said?
30K is the minimum.
Yeah, typically we have about 3 people per deal, or
Okay.
sometimes 1. Quite a few times we have 1, 2, just depends on, what people's situation is, where money is, but.
Sean, one
And you'll give us
you was
scenario?
2 on, it was 2 on yours with you and Jansen
Yes.
on when you was on. And then what we ensure is that, okay, we can sell the property for whatever, $315,000 to ensure that there's enough equity to cover all the lenders that's in the deal itself.
And you give an example in the ROI?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we'll go at high level. I've worked with SEC attorneys and they've been cautioning me on
Yeah.
talking about
estimate, we know
returns and
that.
stuff like that, but we'll go in some details. Either when we put anything on, too much detail on documents that I can get this sued on.
Right.
We'll have so we do everything 12-month terms. Does it take 12 months to get a deal, a house built and sold? No. There's only one situation where we came close and we was at month 9 and I pulled the trigger. We got it refinanced because I made sure everyone got paid out. I much rather deal with banks on the back end at that tight because the market got quirky and that was 2023.
And that's, and to that point, I'll add, that's a great example of the power of real estate, power of having multiple outs, right? Like he said, right, we're at month 9, because the deal was so good, we can go to the bank and just say, hey, look, we have this property, we wanna get 80% LTV on this, and then we just hand you your money and say, hey, look, you're out of the deal.
Right.
And we took a mortgage for 20 days.
Yeah, the thing is like, 20, 25 days they end up selling, it cost us about $3,000-4,000 to do the refinance. But that was worth the cost of my private lenders not worrying, all right, we got 1 quarter left, we're gonna get this thing done.
Yeah.
All right, I don't gotta worry about that anymore. We got a whole 30-year mortgage now on this thing. So that's, like I said, we try to make sure we're in situations like that where it makes sense to raise capital. Cause we don't want another 08 situation, build a whole bunch of homes and then we can't get them sold. So we are kind of slow playing this 1, 2 at a time, unless we can kind of lock in on a future project where we got a lot of pre-sold homes and then get stuff built that way. But that's kind of separate from this, but yes, ma'am.
This is going down the rabbit hole, don't answer it, but I'm just
Oh,
curious. I've heard a lot of, about the real estate market because of the potential for tariffs. And I was just wondering, and also we don't have the people that we need to build them all the time. So I was wondering, has that impacted your outlook on it?
Yeah, so we have been talking about even like stockpiling on materials to kind of keep mindful of stuff like that. Some of my workers, we can't vouch for if they're fully documented or not, so, but they have expressed concerns. But the current one that we all now, we're done, they're out, and it's okay, are we in position for them to start the next one from there?
All right.
So yeah, so it becomes rather regional or local, especially real estate. Like people see it from the whole national standpoint, but like it's really per region. You gotta kind of look at it from there. Yes, ma'am.
And it sounds like since you're a realty company, you all do the acquisition and the sales part, right? And it sounds like you're construction too, so you're able
So
to
we
work.
so we work with Onyx to actually sell them. So they may tell us like, hey, we got this lot that's coming up, or we may identify a lot on the auction. Like for example, Suffolk just had an auction this past Tuesday. There was 3 that we was told to go for. We was able to get 1 of them. So we walked away with something, which was better than nothing. For the last one, we didn't get anything because everything's overpriced.
But you're acquiring, you're the real estate company that's doing the
They work with
acquisition.
he's a CPA, he's the builder. They work with
So our realtors.
Oh, I thought they said something realty. I thought that was you.
Yeah.
So that's who they work with.
That's who they work
That's
with.
part of
Oh,
their
okay.
support team.
Our company's CP Realty, but we're not agents or brokers. Like we
The
don't.
name
Okay,
can be
gotcha.
confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prefer to let people who's great at what they do
Yeah.
do what they
Okay,
do
that's
best,
what
and
CP
we can find the deals, and then he can get them built, and then we can let them sell it from there. Did that answer your question about number of people
Oh,
and all that stuff?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
So the 12-month term is really more so of a cushion per se. Because after our formal closing, like we don't like, it takes us, when shovels hit the ground, we're talking about 3 to 4 months. Like worst case is like, that's a long time to get the house built. And then it's taking around 30, 60 days to get them sold. Now people want to compare it to 2021 when people were getting houses sold within a week.
Oh my
We're not in those days anymore. But that's why we put a 12-month is so that we can have enough cushion to ensure that we can either refinance or get this sold.
Inventory still low.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Inventory still low.
Okay.
Yeah.
So So in Suffolk and, Suffolk and Portsmouth, the areas that we're focused on, 1,500, 1,800 square foot homes, averaging somewhere between 295, 315.
Are you in those two areas, cause, you know, obviously, we're familiar with both areas, are you in those two areas because of, you know? the
Availability.
Oh,
Yeah.
Suffolk is huge.
Yeah.
I'm not from
Land-
here, I'm from Ohio and Michigan, so when we drove through Suffolk one time, I'm like, okay, when is this gonna end?
Yeah, land is
Giant.
more available.
Yes.
Cause and you probably can appreciate this, so back in '08, there was no Harbor View.
No,
That's right.
it wasn't.
Cause so when everything got over expensive in Chesapeake,
Yeah.
Virginia Beach and Norfolk, everyone
Crazy.
moved to Suffolk and that's where Harbor View blew up.
That's when it
We're
was
basically
born. I
seeing the
remember that.
same thing happening on the other side of Suffolk, close to downtown where the peanut factory is.
Okay.
So that's why we're
Wow.
that's our target, cause like they're investing into
Good.
growing that part of the city now because they already got their high end, like they can get more middle class and some high end on the other
Right,
side
right.
by off East Washington by the middle school and everything
Wonderful.
there.
That's nice, that's
Yep.
nice. They also have 2 or 3 Publix too, which makes me upset, 'cause we But I mean, our hospital, I work for Bounce Creek Mercy Health, and probably back in, I don't know, 2016, they went over to Harborview.
Yep.
Because they knew, you know, it's a lot of work to get beds, certificate of need from the state of Virginia, that's a huge deal for hospitals. So
Mhm.
they saw that
Yep.
Suffolk was about, you know, was exploding, and so they actually put some beds over
Smart.
there. Which
Yep.
is big, which is a big deal.
They're still building that side of
They are.
Suffolk, with more apartments and everything, going towards Smithfield, that way as well, so it's, Amazon popping up as
Yeah.
well, and we'll get into why our interest in Suffolk and Portsmouth, but like I said, you kinda hit the nail on the head with the hospital as well. And then, like I said, loan and then everything's paid out, principal interest at the end, as I mentioned before, if we have to refinance to get you cashed out, we'll do it. I don't blink an eye. We're getting close to double-digit months, which is very, very rare. I'll pull that trigger because I know the value is going to be there. Or if I start to see dips in the market, I may even do it sooner if it start to kind of get, all right, being month 6 and stuff starting to dip. And then go ahead and get this cashed out now before it's too late. So we make sure we're constantly observing the market. Any questions regarding our system?
Why Portsmouth? I'm just curious, cause Portsmouth
Are you
is,
jumping ahead of me,
sorry,
man?
Yeah, I was
Jumping ahead of me.
ask that too, but yeah,
yeah.
I do remember you said you were gonna talk about.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So as a private lender, what to expect? Like I said, the 30K. We have a client now. They have a 600 unit apartment building. They have 111 limited partners on that.
600 units.
600 units. They raised 2.7 million from 111 limited partners, and I have to file all those K1s.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
And then
I
what
don't
about the
want to
30?
do that for my own business.
Oh, then do the math.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's why
Somebody he's working for.
yeah, I'm comparing like why we do so
Why
low.
they keep it,
Why you
keep it small.
Yeah, because
Why
it
they
gets a
keep it
lot of
small.
logistics and all that stuff in place.
But they also are raising a lot less capital.
Right.
Yeah, with 100 people, right?
No, I'm
No,
saying
no.
like,
They're
if you
raising
have a
less capital
600
versus
unit
correct, yeah.
apartment,
Yeah.
you got a 600 unit price, which is not the price we working with here.
But some of the
Yeah,
big, like some of our syndication fund clients, like they have a minimum, like they'll allow 30,000. So you're talking about like that many people to be able to raise
Yeah.
1 point something million or whatever. Like that's
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of mouths to feed.
A lot to manage.
Yeah, as I said, we do not accept any capital until we're actually ready for shows to hit the ground. For example, Suffolk has a very slow process of getting the street address from the state. We buy a lot so we bought lot 11 on auction. All right, we gotta submit paperwork. They got one liaison at the Suffolk location that works with the state. The state brings down the street address. It's taking us 6 weeks at least to get a street address. So we have your money and we can't even start it yet because we can't even get insurance until we get a street address. So, like I said, we'd like to get people engaged and involved. But it's like, okay, let's make sure that we're ready to go so that your money's actually working, not just sitting and us having to pay interest on something that's not really working, that we can't even do it at this point. Monthly communications, with videos, pictures. If you want to do a site visit, you're more than welcome to come down. Sean has come down to see her investment in person. Actually met the person that's living there. He talked us to death for a while. So we literally have nothing to hide. But you should see the future of your labor from the money standpoint and what you're doing for the community as well, and getting more homes built. Also, proof up. One of my mentors said, whatever someone tells you, make sure you just proof it up. So here are just different houses that we built over the past, let's say, 3 years. There is a footnote, like I say, we'll acquire the land and we'll sit and wait on it. We've not any rush to start anything. So the reason why you may see stuff like longer than a year that we may have bought it, like Bethlehem, 1213 Bethlehem, like we bought that in February 2023. We didn't really start construction of that until fourth quarter, late third, early fourth quarter 2023. Like I said, we're assessing the market. We're getting. No, you was on Railroad. That was the one that the US 1101 Railroad. That's the one I refinanced out quick, got y'all out, and then we dealt. We was able to get it sold like not too long afterwards, but I was itchy.
So all of your acquisitions are land, these are new builds, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
new construction.
Awesome.
New construction.
We will get into like buying actual, like we actually did like one lot that we bought, Sean, you saw that actually has a house on it. We're basically gonna tear that down,
Yeah.
and build new on it.
Do you flip it all, like do you find a place where you don't?
If it makes sense,
Okay.
Yeah.
if it makes sense.
Okay.
I have my horror stories, and Terrion's aware of my horror stories, because we're like Outkast, the rap group. Like, we do a lot of stuff together, but we do a lot of stuff separately.
Right.
So I got in my own head too big.
Are you the flute artist or the? I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's are you a big boy or you are
Which
Flute artist.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what I
it's
just-
a full album.
I
So
did.
for the Briggs Street, like you have construction about, but construction hasn't technically started, right? So is that gonna fluctuate based on?
So that one's actually started. That one's
Oh, has started.
like we just got permits approved on that one. We're about to close in the walls. We'll probably have that one on the market probably by the end of this month.
Oh, wow.
So we're really on point to hit our initial budgeted number there.
So you mentioned something. You said will the construction amount fluctuate?
Right.
So the beautiful thing about new constructions is that there's set prices already, right? Like all of this is a system.
Okay.
It's operational. There's nothing. Once you get into this stage of it, outside of like the engineering stuff, there's nothing that's unpredictable about the new construction process, especially with an experienced builder.
Okay.
Right, a newer builder, there may be some things that they weren't aware of, but these are systems. These go into a database, a program. We have a whole system for this thing. I have project managers and things that manage these. So I don't manage these day to day myself personally.
Yeah. I
And
guess
we
I'm
do
thinking
it.
about your tariffs question, right? Because
Yeah.
things like steel
The-
and
the-
like and
the-
Cost, yes.
costs
Yeah.
are going to change, which makes me think maybe that number will then be affected because
Yep.
materials may change.
Absolutely, right? And with the amount of, all the houses that I built, like you said, we kind of do some things separately. Having individual homes outside of these that I build as well too. So we have a very good relationship with the building companies and the suppliers, so we're aware of that with 30 days. They give us a 30-day notice. But in addition to that, one of the things we have to
You ain't
remember,
paying market price. You're
yes,
paying wholesale price.
yeah.
Yeah. But for example, I would assume that the reason 213 William Street was maybe higher construction costs was because during COVID, there was a supply chain issue.
Different build house.
Okay.
Every
It was
house is
just
not the
because it
same
was a
square
different
footage. Yep.
So
Yeah.
that didn't affect that at all.
No.
Okay.
And remember, unfortunately, all costs get transferred to the end buyer,
Yeah.
right? So I'm still gonna make my margin.
Yeah.
So whatever they wanna do,
Yeah.
is what they wanna do. But if it costs me 10 more thousand, it's gonna cost you 10 more thousand.
You're right.
Just like these tariffs, we just had a conversation in the car about that. He was
Yeah.
asking about tariffs. was that a great idea? I said it's only going to the inbox.
It's, yeah,
Yeah.
people don't realize that,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's a whole
whole
nother-
nother conversation.
Yeah.
And you're building it in as for your contingency or whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
To cover
Yes,
when
we
you
do have
get
contingency.
our investor.
Yes, ma'am. We have a 10% contingency.
Okay.
It's tied to our budgets as well too.
Gotcha.
Great question.
Terrion, you sound more like you know, been into the financial
I have.
realm as
I
opposed
gave
to
it
the
to
building
him.
realm.
I gave it to him because I didn't want to do it anymore.
That's good, that's good.
Yeah, you gotta play your role.
I just wanted you to know I noticed.
Okay.
So why we do private lending instead of kind of partnership joint ventures, we really want to mitigate the risk to the lender. Whereas if you are a partner, if something happens, then all right, well, you're taking the losses like with us as well. At least as a lender, you have a promissory note, and it's okay, like we have to honor that no matter what, and then that gives you legal recourse against us. You can't really have that as an equity partner unless you can prove that we've done something illegal to not pay you back your money.
Interesting.
Plus, like whatever your
I know.
Well, that's
No,
what,
no,
so,
inside joke.
so some, no, this is important because there are a lot of scams out there.
Yeah, oh, yes.
And so,
Mhm.
the reason why we do this is to educate you all to know what to look for. We'll have more conversations after the fact. But there should be some questions that you are asking, and then like, how am I protecting my investment? You have to ask yourself, how is my investment being protected? But like, so I don't do anything, I don't invest, I've done a lot of private lending investments. There are a couple of things that you're gonna give me for my money. It's a promissory note, and sometimes like, and especially if you deal with family, friends and stuff like that, quit playing with my money. Here go this promissory note, I will take you to court. And it will stand, and they know it, and they gonna pay, cause like, sometimes when you're dealing with certain people that are in close relationship to you, they're gonna try to treat you a little different, and think that you're supposed to just understand their situation. I don't know your situation when it comes to you with my money. Like this is business. I can separate business and yeah, so, but you do wanna make sure that you understand how your investment is protected. So any investment that you go into, ask the question. And if they can't give you an answer, that ain't the investment for you. Understand how your investment is protected. Now don't get me wrong, there's no investment that is risk-free.
Absolutely, right.
There's no, if you are risk averse, put your money in a savings account, go about your business.
Yep.
But there are ways you can mitigate risk, but you have to do the due diligence. And you gotta ask the right questions and make sure that they understand the value of your money, and they have risk mitigation measures in place to make sure that your investments are being protected to the best extent possible. And so, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. And can you repeat again, what did you say were your, risk mitigation,
Yeah, so we do, so to your point, like the third bullet point up here, with the formal closing, you're added to the deed of trust, the promissory note as well.
Is that a
and-
deed that's missing?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it's a big deed. I meant
Oh,
to tell
thank
you
you.
that.
Hey, man.
I meant to tell you that. We corrected that. I forgot
I
to
was
tell
like,
you.
Appreciate
you know,
Oh.
we saw that we could say deed.
We ain't that side, we ain't that side.
Hey,
We're the educated.
That's a
We're the
family,
educated.
that's
But
a
what's
family thing.
important about that is if something happens, they have to pay you first.
Yeah.
What's important about that
Yeah.
is that they have to pay you first. If you didn't get paid, ain't nobody get paid, okay? So
Absolutely.
they have to pay you first. That's
What
why
are
that's
the
so
risks that
important.
you guys are taking in this?
So we actually controlling the asset itself, so from like slip and falls, anything happens on the property itself, like that's the risk that we're taking,
Yeah.
as well. So we also have the risk from you suing us as well, so we gotta take that into account,
Yeah.
with the risk that we're, as well as our money that's in the
Apparently
deal
it's the
also.
American way to
Yeah.
sue.
Yeah. And also the proof of insurance is like, hey, you add to the insurance, so any type of disasters, anything like that, the insurance company is instructed to pay
Oh.
any lenders off first.
And that's one of the partners you
Yeah.
listed or
That's
support too.
important.
Yes, it is.
So
Yeah.
if you didn't take, even if you don't invest in this deal, when you at least have a model for how
Mhm.
to make sure you're being protected in a real estate investment
Yeah.
deal.
And in order to participate, we should be an LLC,
You don't
have to be,
You don't have to be an LLC. Now, as a lender, you don't have that much risk involved. So like, if anything happens to the property, they're not going after the lender, they're just going after like us as the ones that own the land.
You don't have to be an
So
LLC.
you don't
It
have to be an
doesn't have to be,
LLC.
No.
We're
No.
still protected,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
really, as
Contract.
me as myself.
Right,
Yep.
yeah.
Now, if you're an equity partner in somebody's deal, I would recommend LLC. I'm not an attorney, so I'm just saying
Right.
from my experience. But if you're just a debt partner, like in this situation, then it doesn't really impact you. You know?
Yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit more offline, but,
Good questions, nice.
no, this is good.
Yeah. We looked at that, we proofed it up.
Yep.
So this is kind of the reasons why we choose private lending. I said your capital is secured by the asset itself, as well as personal guarantees as part of the promissory note. And like I said, no necessary tax filings, with being in a partnership. That's a personal thing. So
But
that's
when the asset sells, you will get a tax document.
That you have to.
File your taxes, people.
Yeah.
You will get
Now-
a tax document.
now, yeah, and she's talking about the 1099 INT for the interest that you earn on the
I
property.
hate tax.
Now, I will say this, if you are private lending with someone, even if they don't give you a 1099, you still have to report that income.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you-
No,
so-
yes, we're aware.
That's
my
her-
that's my
that's her-
CPA
that's her
talking.
CPA
Get back
hat.
to the investment side.
Yeah,
now.
Stay focused.
And since you are a CPA,
Now you business, know what you're doing, right?
Wait, followed by Alessa Sakavula.
since you are a CPA, I'm gonna pose this question
Let
out
me
here.
step over here now.
For
See-
a person, say, who is retired, and
Mhm.
if they were to start drawing their social security, this would impact that, right? 'Cause
No,
it's
you're
like
not
a-
generating like earned income. Like it's still like interest income, but this is still considered passive. So
Yeah.
you have some leeway there to earn
Yeah.
passive income and not impact your.
And it won't be in the earnings tax?
We're gonna send you a calendar for him
Oh,
as well too, so you can,
Trump, I wanna get my money.
Yeah.
I wanna be in the-
These are, so.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's a
good
very good question.
These are
It's a
good
very good
questions
question.
That's a great
because
question.
before you invest, you wanna understand the tax implications.
That's a great question.
Because you don't wanna, there's been a lot of people who have invested not understanding the tax implications.
Right.
You absolutely wanna understand the tax implications.
Like for example,
because
like
that's big.
if you was an equity partner in this,
Uh-huh.
and then you was and we built and sold this property, that's actually earned income that you receive. That would impact your
So
your
If you
social-
invested in sold.
if you were an equity
Equity
partner
partner.
and we built and sold this, like that's earned income. So we're subject to like self-employment tax and all that because we're selling the actual product. No different than the person that sold me this hoodie. So
But in this instance,
but in
that
this
we're saying,
instance,
I
you're
would
not,
be-
because you're a lender, so you're passively investing into this deal, and now you're not, your social security isn't impacted.
So when you
So I
think
can
about
turn on my
investing,
social security as a
Yes.
retiree.
so
Yes.
when,
And
so when you
still-
think
And you
of
can
the,
do
Yeah.
these type of
And
deals
be
all
safe.
day long and be
Yeah,
safe.
'cause I'm
Yeah.
a trust stock.
but you gotta use the word lender.
Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You sit about 6 months before you do it.
Yeah.
Sit? Okay.
Yeah, you gotta remember, so when she's talking about you building your strategy, you wanna go from a lending perspective because you can't do equity.
Yeah.
Equity impacts you, so your first pathway, like she was talking about, she's putting your plan together, you wanna be a lender, how can I be
That's
a
why
lender?
it's important to understand your plan, because a move that's good for me may not be what's good for you. You have to understand what your plan is and what your goals is, what your limits, what your constraints are.
Yeah.
It's not the same for everybody. And so, because I'm not in retiree status,
Yeah.
I'm in, damn.
You,
And then-
you still working.
Hey, you almost there.
No, I'm talking about
Right.
social security,
Oh,
retirement,
okay.
dang, y'all.
Alright.
Go on to the next slide, these people crazy.
You said you dropped your papers, that's what I'm saying. You said you dropped them. You retired with it.
Y'all see what I'm working with?
Come over here to my side. Come over to my side. I'm sorry.
This one right here talking about, can I come shovel her snow because she retired and I ain't.
I know. That's what I said. I had a nervous day because I I got my disability, I got my 100%.
Friends. How many of us have them?
Oh, yeah.
Never end with these ladies.
So even with the interest rates, you still see the home prices continuing to.
Stable.
Yeah, they're stable. So
Yeah.
what we're seeing,
Even in this area, we have not seen major, cause
Well-
the Hampton Roads area,
Yeah.
largely military. They're not dealing with the same thing as this area is, and we still haven't seen if home prices being impacted.
There you go.
yeah. And what we're seeing is like a lot of first-time home buyers are acquiring our homes, so they get the preferred interest rates as well as down payment assistance as well. So we see a lot of that. So even with, this is why we choose something in Portsmouth, like it's a bit of 08 happening all over again. It's expensive in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and Chesapeake, so everything's kind of moving across the Berkeley Bridge, the downtown tunnel, onto that side of
It's like a
464.
repeat of a movie. We bought
Yeah.
it, by the way, we bought in 2007, so we totally get the.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, definitely
It was a-
different times then. There is still stability in the jobs. They're going to keep funding military. Anything that happens with the port, like as we all saw, like someone's going to come in, make a deal happen, and ensure that the port is good to go. Governor Youngkin just approved 35 billion to invest in the Suffolk for their own port. So you're gonna have two ports on that side of the tunnel at this point. So when that breaks ground, and then you also have Amazon as well. Yes, and then the hospital also. And then just more available land to build on that side of the water,
I remember
especially in
there was
Portsmouth, we have a
nothing
lot
out there.
more,
Yep.
of the public homes being tore down. So they're looking for those to come in to help kind of
Went back.
build more homes out there. Besides the park,
Yeah. Nice.
That's all I got.
Oh, wow.
So,
Hey, nice.
so
Any
that's
questions,
my number,
please?
my email.
Well, these are houses that you built?
Yeah, these are the
houses that we build. So,
Oh, they're cute.
actually, that's Suffolk, Portsmouth, Norfolk, in that order.
That almost looks like a tiny,
Like a tiny.
that almost looks
It's
like a tiny
because of the,
house.
the
width of it.
you can tell that the
Yeah.
image is a little compressed. But please ask, so I'm gonna end that, I gave him some things to make sure that he addresses, to answer most of the questions as you think through.
Have you had a negative experience in any of this? Or something you would view as, like, how did you recover?
Yeah, so my first flip I did on my own, like that was a huge negative experience for me, and part of it was like I'm trying to like do my own thing, like and see what I can kind of do my own, kind of build the wrong team, and just had glorified handyman as my contractor. Had my dad involved in that deal. It literally took a full exactly 365 to flip that house. Like we bought it on, that was 2018,
Yeah.
and we bought that on like August 30th, and then sold it September 1st of the next year. Like literally almost lost my dad at that point. So and that was in that house was in Portsmouth. I still had a full-time job at the time, working in Virginia Beach off of General Booth. So that's an hour drive. I'm taking materials from the Lowe's and Home Depot, and then it was just like, okay. So how we overcame that was like,
Yeah.
luckily, like I said, like, he didn't lose any money. Like I basically broke even. Found a really good agent within Onyx as well to help get that thing sold. Let that guy go. Found somebody else to finish the work, and made it happen from there.
Okay.
The main thing was like, okay, don't lose the shirt. Just had a newborn at the time, so like.
Yeah.
My wife has a very weird voicemail that she saved of me crying.
Aww.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the end users, the purchasers at the end, you have good customer satisfaction?
Yeah, like I said,
Right,
be able to kind of go back into, especially in the neighborhoods that we're in, it's like, hey, anything, there's a guy like the house, like, one guy, he was living in Virginia Beach, so it was like, there's a train tracks nearby. He's like, man, I just traded, I knew what I was getting into, I just traded jet noise for
Yeah.
train tracks. He was like, but like,
We're real comfortable with noise in our area, aren't we? We live right next to Langley.
oh man,
You
yeah.
can't complain about that.
Yeah.
because
Your
you-
show every day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Every day you get
Yeah,
a
to speak to your point about clients, like the house on the left, we have about 5 lots on one street, so you're not leaving the street, right? Like, that's the area you invested in, you've seen that, you've been on a tour. So we have like 5 lots on one street and we're building homes, so people that see us building the next home are living in the home next door.
Oh, okay.
Right, so you're not gonna build anything that you're gonna have somebody say, hey, look, come over here and fix this today, you know? So, you know, we build, you know, and hopefully the pictures that you've seen from the addresses, if you look them up, you can see the quality of work.
Okay.
I only build things that I would live in. I only remodel things, like, you couldn't come to me as a client and tell me to cut a corner.
Right.
I don't need the money to do
That's
that,
good to
right?
know.
The reputation precedes everything, right? I put my sign in the ground, says this home was built by Tier 1 Construction, and I stand on my phone number
Right.
on it. And I tell people my phone number won't change. Too much money coming to my phone for me to change it, be doing the wrong type of work,
Right.
right? So that's my thing. My phone number will stay the same as long as God allows me to stay on this earth, and I pay this bill, and He gives me the ability to pay this bill. So that's what I stand on, and that's the type of work that I put out. You know?
And I'm sure you get some kind of warranty, they get some kind of, at least a
Yep.
1-year
Yep, we get a
warranty. or
1-year
something.
warranty, yep.
Yeah.
I get a 1-year
Okay.
warranty.
Do you guys do those,
Did you tell him that?
No, not yet.
Okay.
do you guys do those like, build out community type constructions? Where you may purchase like, you know, several acres and you're building a community of like, I don't know, 50 homes?
We're in discussions with Virginia Beach at this point right now for something like that.